All right, guys, welcome back to the YouTube. And I've got another useful one for you today, hopefully. I'm just going to go through the basics you need to know when you're looking for fat loss. So, first of all, let me just clear up who this video is for. So, the most common thing people will say to me when I ask them their goal is that they want to lose weight. Now, 90% of the time when people say lose weight, they mean fat loss. They want to feel better in their body, they want to see less body fat in certain areas, such as stomach and arms. But what they really mean is they want to lose fat. And if they say tone up, they usually mean they want to build a little bit of muscle. Either way, body recomposition is what they want. So you want a lower body fat percentage because there's simply then less fat visible, more muscle visible. So we're going over fat loss today and the things you need to know on how to do that in the most effective way possible. So the first thing, and you have to get this right, the nutrition side of things has to be in place if you are to successfully lose an adequate amount of fat or lose weight, as a lot of people will say. So if you haven't got the nutrition right, you can train as much as you like, it's going to make no difference. What you need to be in is calorie deficit. So you've probably heard this before, you might be bored of it by now, but quite literally, calorie deficit is the most important thing you need to consider if you're looking to lose fat, okay? So what is a calorie deficit? Very simple. The calories you consume per day, so that comes from food and drink, what you eat and drink, against your calories expended. A calorie surplus would be where you consume more calories than what you expend and what you need. Calorie deficit, therefore, is the opposite. So you're expending more calories, whether that's through activity, just through living throughout the day, than you consume. What this is then going to do is result in you essentially losing weight. Because if you're in a calorie surplus, your body's still going to be taking in more fuel than it needs, and it's more likely to put on fat or muscle or both. So, based on this, you might be asking, oh, well, why don't I just have as little calories as possible? Because then I'm in a really big deficit and I'll lose loads of weight. Don't do that, because if you don't fuel yourself enough through adequate calories and protein especially, what can then happen is that you will lose weight, but what you'll lose will be muscle mass as well. You don't want to lose muscle mass. All the studies we know link a really low level of muscle mass to worse health in general and higher risk of disease. So you want to avoid that completely. The way you can work out your calorie deficit, you'll need a few different things. For example, your weight and your height and your age as well. What you'll need is to go onto a calculator online. There's a couple of good equations, such as the Harris-Benedict equation. You can type some numbers into a calculator. It will tell you what your maintenance calories are. So that will be the calories that you need to stick at the same weight you are now. Okay, so you can do that. I'm going to put a link in the description to the calorie calculator that I find works quite well. It's easy to use. Type your numbers in there and it will tell you how many calories that you need to keep the same weight. From there, I tend to propose quite a small to moderate calorie deficit of around about 500 calories or so. So just get that number minus 500 calories and that's going to be your starting point. So for example, we're going to take someone who needs about 2,000 calories a day. I'm going to take that number and I'm going to make it into a weekly calorie target. The way I'm going to do that is simply times it by 7. So 2,000 calories a day, 14,000 calories per week, okay? Weekly target, 14,000 calories. Now, I accept that at the weekend, if you're not working, social life may take over. You may want to be more social, spend time with your friends and family. You can allow for this. You don't have to be necessarily really strict on 2,000 calories per day. What you can do is drop the calories slightly lower Monday to Friday. So here, I'll drop those to 1,800, so a couple of hundred calories lower. What that's allowing me to do is go to 2,500 calories on Saturday and Sunday. It means you can enjoy yourself a little bit more without feeling as guilty, because if you do it in that system, you're still going to hit your 14,000 calorie per week target. So yes, you can stay 2,000 calories per day, and if you're consistent and you're good with that, then that's great. But if we're being realistic, most people have a social life at the weekend or things they want to do at some point during the week. It doesn't have to be at the weekend. You can allow for this, and then you can have lower calorie days, obviously not by too much. We don't want to be having 200 calories in a day, for example. You want to still be having an adequate amount, so don't lower it by too much. You have a slight reduction some days, and therefore on the days where you've got events planned or social things planned, you can go up on your calories and have that a little bit more and just enjoy your time even more. So you can still go out clubbing, you can still go to the pub, All of that stuff you can still do and lose weight or fat loss, as we're saying. It's all possible. So you've just got to make smart decisions and be consistent with what you're doing and allow for this thing to occur. All right, next up, I'm just going to go through nutrition in a little bit more detail on what your nutrition might look like from day to day. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to take you through the example that we've been using for 2,000 calories per day. This relates to an 80 kilo male. So from the scientific literature that we know, you want to be between 1.5 and 2.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight per day. Rough estimate. So between 1.5 and 2.2 per kilo. So 80 kilo male, that's going to give you between 120 and 176 grams of protein per day. Each gram of protein will contain 4 calories, okay? So I know that for this male, he'll be looking at between 480 and 704 calories of protein per day. So, and that's out of his 2,000 calorie target per day. So all that is 24 to 35% of his daily calories. As you can see on this pie chart, protein makes up about, as I say, between 24 and 35% of his daily calories. The rest of it doesn't really matter to some extent. So if you prefer slightly less carbs, have less carbs, have a big portion of fat. If you prefer slightly more fatty diet, have a slightly big portion of fat. It's your choice. What you want to be doing is a high protein diet. Now this will link with the final point I'm going to mention about training, but protein is essentially a regenerative source, okay? So what it's going to do is help repair your muscles if you've been training. This will help you for the tone up goal that I mentioned at the start. What that's going to do is essentially help reduce your body composition and your body fat percentage even more. If you're putting on more muscle and losing fat, that's going to be great. But protein also helps with loads of stuff. Helps with your health of your skin, your nails, your hair. It's important to have a high protein diet. Some people find as well that having more protein in their diet means they're less likely to eat and snack on foods because it just makes them a little bit more full. So all round, there's really no reason to not have a high protein diet if you're looking to get a healthy lifestyle, improve your body composition, reduce your fat, etc., etc. Okay? So with this high protein diet, it does allow for you to sometimes eat what you want. Now, obviously, I could achieve all of this from just eating McDonald's or Burger King or anything like that. Obviously, I want to be eating leaner sources of protein. That's like your chicken and your steak, for example. And what that's going to do is be slightly lower in calories, and that's going to give you that little bit more wiggle room with what you eat for the rest of your calories per day. Okay? So as long as you're a high protein diet, that's the number one thing I think you should focus on. Realistically, you don't need to stress about whether you should be keto, whether you should be high carb, low carb, high fat, low fat, etc., etc., etc. Focus on the protein first and foremost, then you can experiment with what works for you, okay? Because this has to be about you. This isn't just me saying this is the only method that will work. I'm giving you a way of being flexible with your nutrition that's going to help you achieve the goal you want, okay? So now we've covered you need to be in a calorie deficit, how you can achieve that week to week, and how you can achieve that on a daily basis, okay? Now we're going to go through the training. All right, final section of this video is going to be about training. So I've mentioned nutrition, and as I said earlier, that has to be in place before we think about this almost. If your calorie deficit isn't there, no matter how much you train, you will really struggle to achieve the fat loss that you want, okay? So when we're talking about training, the first thing I'd recommend is strength training 3 times per week, okay? So as I mentioned, body recomposition is what we're after, okay? So this is gonna help build a little bit of muscle, which therefore, as the muscle goes up, the amount of muscle you've built from strength training, and as the body fat goes down as well, all that's going to do is just improve your body composition further. So you're going to start to see muscles in places that you wouldn't normally have seen, so it's been covered by a layer of fat. This is all going to help the general goal of fat loss as well. Also, strength training has many benefits, not least mental health, but also helps reduce the risk of diseases such as osteoarthritis due to the benefits to bones and joints. On the other training side of things, there needs to be an element of cardiovascular training. The most important muscle of all is your heart. So doing some cardiovascular training to reduce the risk of heart disease in the future is obviously a really good idea to be doing. Exercise as well will help increase your calorie expenditure. So then that will give you that slightly bigger deficit, meaning it just helps you along the process of of losing fat. Also increases your metabolism, which you want to be relatively high, again, just so you can burn through these calories slightly more efficiently. What I will say as well is that it doesn't just have to be strenuous exercise. So in terms of calories burnt, if we're being real about how much exercise will burn calories, you can burn loads of calories just from going out for a long walk or just general daily activities. It never has to be just exercise all the time. You can exercise a few times a week and then go for a walk a few times a week, okay? So from the calorie side of things, it doesn't have to be strength training. You should be doing some, because I believe everyone should be doing some, and every program should have some form of strength in there. The benefits just outweigh all the cons that you could possibly imagine. So keep it simple. Strength training, bit of cardiovascular training as well, whichever method you prefer and you find easy to stick to. Don't do something that you really don't enjoy, because you're not going to be able to stick to it. Start small, gradually progress into it, and then as you get more confident or happier, you can then get a really good schedule going, and then before you know it, it doesn't really feel like work at all, because it's something you almost might enjoy doing. It is possible to enjoy exercise. You'll get there eventually. All right guys, that's the last section done now then. So I'm just going to give you a quick recap, and if you have any questions, obviously let me know in the comments or give me a message, and I'll go through some more with you if you need to. So let's finish this all off. Number one, most important, calorie deficit. In fact, calorie deficit. Get that one. Number two, high protein diet. Keep the protein high, and then that sort of allows you to be a bit more flexible with the rest of your diet regarding fats and carbs. Strength training, throw a little bit of cardiovascular in there too. Strength training is a priority, 2 to 3 times per week. Consistency. If you do this 2 days a week, you'll see little results. You want to try and be getting into the habit of doing this regularly to the point where it becomes habitual. That's what we're looking to do. Build healthy habits that are going to benefit us in the long term. Consistency. And the last one usually goes without saying, but it can be difficult, I appreciate. Smart decisions. If you know you're going out on the lash at the weekend, you're going to consume a boatload of calories, allow for that during the week. Don't just get to that day, have those calories and be like, there's always next week. The always next week person is the person that will never achieve anything. So don't be that person. That's me done. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll be back soon next week with a video. I'm going to do these videos weekly. If you have any requests in particular, let me know. If not, like, subscribe, and I will see you soon.